I think this used to be a shoe store where I used to buy shoes. Pretty sure. This used to be the Kingston Tea Garden where I had my first waitressing job way back when, but it's not here anymore. It is a marketplace and eatery, but it is not. Look it up there. Look at the detail in the Victorian building. Isn't this gorgeous?
What's the Mohican?
Well, it used to be a grocery store. It's now Gerald Celente's office. But it used to be a grocery store, and this is where I would come and get my melons and cottage cheese, which I've talked about. Oh, it's so good to see you. Oh, I really am happy to be here.
I used to come here when the gallows on it, so it was probably after you left.
Yeah, because I left in 72.
Yeah, they didn't get it till like 78.
Isn't that fun? I mean, it just is. I'm so glad you bought it.
Yeah, we're standing right here.
Look at it. Yeah.
That's where the pizza oven is in the back over there. So the whole place was gutted when I bought it.
This is fantastic. Isn't it?
And you saw the gardens and the other buildings over there?
No, we just got here, so we just...
So this is...
Isn't it gorgeous in here? Look at your tomatoes.
A month ago they were this big. Oh, look at the peppers and range.
Oh yeah, nice.
And look what you're looking at over here.
The history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look at these stone buildings.
Kingston, when it was the first capital in New York State, over 70% of America's Constitution comes from the Constitution that was written there. Yeah. John Jay. Yeah, that John Jay was a judge over there. I mean, people have no idea what they have. That's why I own what I own. Nobody wanted these when I had them. I own 3 of them.
Oh, I thought you owned all 4.
No, that's the museum that's mostly closed. This is 1763. I bought this in foreclosure. And I'm not a real estate guy. I bought them for what they represent. And I just gave her total freedom to do what she wanted.
Oh,
and this is what she created.
And that's, you know, once you give an artist freedom,
didn't tell
it's
her
amazing.
anything to do.
Yep.
But look at it. Look, you're in another world.
It is so phenomenal. Starting to understand because this is where I grew up. We were lucky enough to learn how to think for ourselves.
Yeah. And that's what they used to tell you. Think for yourself.
Exactly.
My father get mad at me. He said, "Pappagallo, parrot. Stop repeating what everybody else is saying. Think for yourself." And then you get a fight with your father. You go, "You little bastard." He said, "You think I'm telling you what I'm telling you because I want you to be like me? I want you to be yourself."
Exactly.
And they were real fighters. I mean, you know. Oof. And, you know, and they taught you, you know, you better grow up and be yourself.
I think that's what it was. I mean, my father always used to say to me, "Do what I say and not what I do."
Yeah.
And I used to say, "Daddy, that makes no sense to me." But that was like a normal banter.
Yeah.
And so even when I'm watching and listening to what the central bankers and the politicians are saying, you know, it's like I'm watching what they're doing. And when their actions are not congruent with their words, I know it's a lie.
Yep. I go into a Home Depot, a Lowe's, a Staples, and my heart breaks watching the people work there. Mm-hmm. What are their futures going to be?
Exactly.
And they're all taken over. They had antitrust laws that prohibited that when we grew up.
Yeah,
there was
not anymore.
Yeah, look at the bastards. What, J.P. Morgan Chase gets caught rigging the precious metals market right in front of everybody's eyes, a slap on the wrist.
And they still
they're bigger than bigger. Yeah, they still didn't stop. Yeah, what do you get? Too big to fail. That's America?
What? You're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy.
Yeah.
And this is the garbage that they're pushing down people's throat. People don't want to own homes anymore. Yeah. They want to be renters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to be a renter. Yeah. Do you want to be a renter?
Yeah, and with Blackstone just buying up all those buildings, people can't afford. What is the average house, a home over price? Average house is $350,000. Exactly. You're making $15 an hour. You know, we're getting a hernia working at Amazon. And you're going to buy a house?
this is a trend that started in 2008. You know, they
That's
pump the markets up, and do you think that the corporations give a crap how much they're paying for this stuff? No, because it's either money for free, but it's all on debt. And then they sell that debt to the public.
Yeah.
So, you know...
We own the debt. The Federal Reserve buying corporate junk bonds. How stupid can you be? Oh, and who's the head of the Treasury Department? Where did she come from?
Yeah. I don't know. Janet Yellen.
Yeah.
Was she, the Fed?
Oh, yeah.
We've been in perpetual war since 1989. And I did a study once and looking at the period of time between the wars and the monetary system leading up and then into the wars.
1913.
No. Yeah, but even before
That's what I'm
that,
saying.
I went way before to the War of 1812.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and there was always about a 40-year space in time when we had peace. And then they would go into war, they would degrade the currency, then they would go to a new central bank system, and they would go back on the gold standard, and you had this period of peace, so people could forget about it. But in 1913, when they installed the central bank, I mean, do you really think it's a coincidence that the era of perpetual central banking and the era of perpetual war are one and the same?
Yeah, yeah. The banksters hasn't changed.
No.
The money changes. Their money changes. All they care about is themselves.
Right. And the profits.
And the profits.
And, you know, and the illusion of choice. And that's all that choice has really become for most people, is purely an illusion. It's not reality, because you have just, 6 entities that own pretty much everything, whether it's the seeds for the food.
Yep.
And I know that you're really into, growing the beautiful garden, and I'm certainly into growing, but that's also why it's so critically important that we do grow heirloom products, and then we share those seeds, and that's part of community. And that's what I see you doing here, and that's what the Occupy Peace and Freedom, I mean, that's what that movement is really all about. We need the community, we need the people to take back our power.
Yeah. George Carlin said it. One big club and you ain't in it.
Yeah, exactly. But we have to create our own club.
That's right.
That's what
and
you're
that's
doing.
what I'm doing.
Exactly.
And that's what you're doing.
Exactly.
I worked for the trade association. I was the number 2. At 30, I'll show you a picture of me and Ronald Reagan, 30 years old. I picked him up to Chicago Hilton and took him over to him and Mike Diva to McCormick Place. 2 days before he's announcing he's running against Gerald Ford. And I put on a brunch with him and our board of directors on top of I was with him for an hour and a half. In those days, you got in a taxi cab, by the way, and went.
Yeah.
And he's going to announce it. All the media.
2 days before.
He's running against Gerald Ford, 1976. Anyway, I was living between Chicago and D.C. At 28 years old, I was staying at the Willard and putting my meetings on at the Hay Adams.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wouldn't know what I know if I wasn't on the other side.
Exactly.
And then I started growing up.
Yep.
Took me a lot of years still doing it.
It was also Reagan that really formalized perception management when he brought Rupert Murdoch over.
That's right.
So, we don't realize this, we idealize these people, but there are ulterior motives that hide everything, and that it just depends on the spin. So I'm sure they spend so much time figuring out what they want to do, and they spend a lot more time on how they're going to spin it to the public, so the public can swallow it and believe it. And we have to stop doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, the public.
The public.
Because government's not going to stop doing that. And the central bankers aren't either, because their job is to keep you in line and get you to volunteer to be in line. That's their job. So they can't tell you the truth, because you'd make different choices. It really is, unfortunately.
You're right.
That's
You're
simple.
100% right. Again, the banksters are in charge. Nothing's changed. Again.
So what do you think is going to happen with the big digital movement and the
They're going
CBDCs?
digital. They're definitely going digital. And that's why I've been writing about this since it began. And I said cryptocurrencies are going to keep going up until they take control, and they don't want competition. Finished. And they're going digital, so they know every penny that you spent, where you spent it, what you spent it on, so we can get our tax money, because we don't work. We want your tax money.
Right.
So we get it. We know everything about you. And now we're going to digital, more loss of freedom.
Complete loss of freedom. because
Complete.
they cannot, it isn't just about tracking and pulling out the taxes, but if they don't like the way you're spending your money,
yeah.
they can prevent it.
That's right.
This is programmable money. You know, when we had gold and silver, that was private, and the citizens had control because you didn't like the system. You pulled the gold out, and you created restrictions. Then they had to get rid of that. So then we went into the fiat money, where the big experiment was on controlling the rate and speed of inflation, because inflation was part of it. So you still had some level of privacy in cash. You didn't lose, you lost your purchasing power, but at least you had your privacy. Now they're taking us into a new monetary system where you have no privacy.
No privacy.
And you have no control.
No control, no privacy. We're in charge.
And look at China, because China's spearheading it.
They're the ones,
right? And
Yep.
they're showing you how they dictate in their CBDC experimentation. They dictate where you can spend
That's
that
right.
money and what you can spend
That's
that
right.
money on, and how long that money is actually in existence. So you have a period of time in which you're going to spend it, or it's going to go away. So that means we'll have really global central banks. I mean, forget we're starting to move away from globalization. For me, having physical gold and silver outside of the system, that's the only way to do it.
Yeah,
It's the
I
only
agree.
way to do it, because
I
it's
agree.
the only semblance of privacy and real money that you have.
And you better hold on to it. The FBI, did you read about this?
Oh,
$36 million in
Right, they
safety
pulled
deposit in California. Went into bank safety deposit boxes. Yeah, totally against the law. They'll do anything they want.
years and years ago, I had a client in California, little old lady, and they drilled into her bank safe deposit box. She had the collectible gold coins in there, because you can't hold bullion or cash in there. It's classified as hoarding,
Wow.
which is what a horrible thing. And the only reason why she actually knew about it is because she got a letter of apology, because she had nothing in there that was illegal or frowned upon for her to hold.
They've robbed us out of freedom, and that's what we're doing, having an Independence Day celebration. This
Yep.
is our country. That's why I bought these buildings. At four corners of freedom.
Yes.
The seeds of democracy was sown here. And I got some little shits telling me what to do.
Yeah, and you're the one that's working, and you're the one that's producing and creating opportunities. I mean, we need to go back to that. People are having fewer and fewer opportunities, and my big concern are my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and even my children, but more the younger generations, because they're growing up as a norm. You know, we grew up, this was not the norm. So we're looking at these changes and getting upset about them. And privacy. I mean, privacy has been taught out of us.
Yep.
Why not just put it up on the internet for everybody to I mean, why not? But we need to maintain privacy in order to maintain freedom.
And it's gone.
Do you think we can get it back?
If we fight for it.
Yeah.
It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom, said Samuel Adams. So let me show you the other buildings over here.
Absolutely. So what's on your agenda for the rest of the day?
Not too much. This was yesterday's Trends in the News. I go through the articles and I underline the salient points of each story. Think I want to read all this shit?
No, but you do.
Yeah, but I do.
Right,
to
exactly.
keep learning.
I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
It's not
because
like,
I
you know,
do
It's kind
too.
of familiar to
Yeah.
somebody else's office.
So, I read all this stuff, and then what I do is I underline all the salient points of the stories. This is one day's worth of work. This is one day.
I get that.
One day. So, when I talk about things and knowing about them,
The other thing that we're doing, Gerald, that is like so near and dear to my heart, and we're expanding this as well. There is a school near us where we went in and built out some garden beds and put in some food trees. And we're working with them on a program so the kids are learning how to grow, right? Not just we do give them food too, but it's not about that. It's them learning how to grow. And we did a big sign, and we try and do something really special every month. Because if they have something, I mean, my feeling is if they have something that they are looking forward to every month, then
absolutely,
it gives them hope. It enables, what I really want them to do is learn how to dream. And I think that that's so much of what's lacking these days, is that people don't know how to dream.
Look, we're lucky because of look at our parents.
Exactly.
If you grew up and your mother was a drug addict and you didn't know who your father was, what shot do you have?
Exactly. Well, we're trying to give these kids a shot.
Again, I've been at this for a lot of years, trend forecasting. There's never been a better time for positive change than now. It does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, since Samuel Adams. And there is a tireless minority. And you unite them, and you win. You win. And so my heart breaks when I see the sadness of what's happening. Again, it's never been, it's always been there. But where we are now is worse than ever before. The land of opportunity. That's what it used to be.
Yes.
The land of opportunity.
Yes. For me, when you look at things just a little differently, it is amazing what you see.
Yeah.
I can look at the same chart or graph 1,000 times, but if I'm looking at it from a different angle, I always see something that I never saw before.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And that's what we're trying to do with people, is just to get them to think just a little differently. Look at things just a little differently.
Think for yourself.
Exactly. This is the first honey press from our bees. Isn't that like...
It's a totally different flavor.
Isn't that incredible?
Totally different. It's a totally different flavor. Thank you so much.
Oh, you are very welcome. We have very happy honeybees.